Aries crew. How is your week going? I hope you are having a fabulous Friday and you had a beautiful week. Come on in. It's been a few days since we've been on live. Definitely missed you guys. So we got some stuff to catch up on. So get your tea, get your coffee, get your drinks, whatever you like to relax to when you get home. Get comfortable and let's get into some things. It's going to get a little bit messy over here because we get a little messy over here and you're going to get Aries energy in every review. So sadly, we have another death to report. Danielle Spencer, who starred in the 70s show What's Happening. She was the little sister in there to Raj. She has passed away at age 60. So we got to talk a little bit about her life and what occurred prior to her passing and what her cause of death is. Very sad news. 60 is a very young age. She definitely left a mark, a part of a classic TV show. We'll never forget her. I think she's a reflection of a lot of people's little sister. She played the mess out of that role, but she was also just very relatable and down to earth. So she definitely will be missed. And then we have a win that Diddy recently got in court with a lawsuit dismissal. And he also has another lawsuit that has been filed against Ariel Mitchell Kidd and Courtney Burgess for defamation, I believe. So we got to get into a little bit about that. So we do have some Diddy news while he is awaiting sentencing on October 3rd for the recent federal trial that he went through. But, outside of that, it looks like Diddy's got some momentum for cases here. Let's see where this all goes. And Jason Lee, the popular podcaster, he's also got a TV. He's the founder and owner of Hollywood Unlocked. He's also got a YouTube show on here as well. He is under investigation with the city of Sacramento over 50,000, or city of Stockton, excuse me. He's under investigation with the city of Stockton regarding $50,000. So we need to get into what's going on there. As you may or may not have known, Jason Lee is a vice mayor out in the city of Stockton, which is where he is from. So we'll get into all of that good stuff. But before we go any further, if you're not familiar with me, my name is Aries Rose and welcome to Aries Rose TV. On this channel, we talk about streaming shows, movies, TV shows, world news, local news, celebrity news, politics. Basically anything I find interesting, I come on and discuss with my Aries crew. If you're on Instagram, follow us at Aries Rose TV. Let us know you're from YouTube and we will follow you back. It's another way you can connect with the channel. We post on there. So definitely love to see you over in Instagram and here on YouTube. In the communities tab, they've changed it up so you can have discussions in there. Post questions. Let me know about trends, topics you want me to cover on the channel, any of that good stuff. You can do that over in the communities tab. So all you have to do is be a subscriber to Aries Rose TV, and then you can go on over there and chat with me. I'll definitely respond back to any questions, discussion items, anything over there. So check out that communities tab here after the live, and let's get into it. So sadly, I saw a notification come through a couple days ago about another person who's lost their life. That was like a piece of childhood here because I wasn't alive when the show was on, but I definitely saw reruns of it as I was growing up. So I'm very familiar with the show. I absolutely like classic TV. So I definitely know what's happening. And it was sad to see that Danielle Spencer had passed away. So let's get into a little bit about what was going on with her. And welcome. If you are a returning Aries crew member, leave hashtag Aries crew in the comments. If you are a first-time watcher, leave first-time watcher in the comments. I want to give you a shout out for stopping by and spending part of your day here. And when you subscribe to the channel, let me know because I want to give you a shout out on the live and personally welcome you to the Aries crew. Wandler, welcome. Thank you so much for stopping by. Hope you're having a good week and a good Friday. And we do have a leaderboard on the live here. So the more you interact and ask questions, the higher up you go on there. And we'll definitely shout you out on the live. And let's get into Danielle Spencer. And this is reporting from TMZ. Danielle Spencer, famous for playing Dee Thomas on the hit 70s sitcom What's Happening, has died at 60 following complications from cancer, TMZ has learned. Her longtime friend, Her longtime friend and former co-star Haywood Nelson, aka Dwayne from the sitcom, tells TMZ Danielle passed away Monday night in a Richmond, Virginia hospital with her mom Cheryl and her jazz musician brother Jeremy Pelt by her side. Very, very sad. Cancer just affects so many people. I don't understand why we don't have a cure for cancer at this point, because it's just so wide reaching. It impacts everybody. And I feel like we've put so much money and had so many years into it. I don't know why we're not a little bit further along with that, but very sad to hear. But I'm glad she was still in touch with a co-star from the show. That's always good when people are still, because that's got to be what, 30, 40? Is it more than 40 years from now? Yeah, I guess it is over 40 years from now from when that show was on. That's crazy. The 70s feel like it was like 20, 30 years ago, not as long ago as it actually is. And that's wild to me when I only really realized time when people like this that you grew up on start passing away, and then you see their ages and you're like, man, you're at that age now? How old am I if you're 60? And let's keep it going. It says Haywood adds Danielle had previously been in a car accident and was in a wheelchair. He honored Danielle on Instagram Tuesday, saying her battle had taken a heavy toll, but she's finally found her release from the clutches of the world and a body. What's Happening ran on ABC from 1976 to 1979, with Danielle reprising her iconic role in the 1980s spinoff What's Happening Now, before leaving Hollywood in the 90s to become a veterinarian. She was 60 years old. May she rest in peace. Definitely condolences out to her friends and family, everybody that was impacted by her passing. Let me know if you watched What's Happening in the comments. Leave What's Happening if you are familiar with the show, and leave Diddy if she was your favorite character on the show. Very, very sad news. Wandler, RIP. Yeah, totally sad, and definitely rest in peace. And speaking of another celebrity that's passed away, I'm going to be doing a review of the TMZ Presents, the Real Hulk Hogan documentary that came out recently. I had a chance to watch that, and it also had some features from Vince McMahon, who was the former owner of the WWE, that was formerly the WWF. And if you know anything about wrestling, you know that Vince McMahon and Hulk Hogan were peanut butter and jelly. And they pretty much, as far as I'm concerned, and in my personal opinion, built wrestling into what it is today. If it wasn't for those two, I don't think it would be what it is today. And there would not be superstars like The Rock or John Cena that came out of that particular industry if it was not for Hulk Hogan and Vince McMahon. And I think they both needed each other to be successful. I don't think they could have done it on their own. Just my personal opinion. But it was a great documentary. Learned a few more things, but it was very interesting hearing from Vince McMahon and his perspective on some things that went on with the WWE and how they handled the tribute for Hulk Hogan. So stay tuned for that. I'll post on the communities tab when I'm going to be doing that live, but definitely watch that, especially if you are a wrestling fan. Stay tuned for that. And let's jump into what we got going on next here. And that is about Diddy, Brother Love. It looks like he's got another win in court. And it looks like because he's got so many lawsuits filed against him. I honestly have lost count at this point. But what I wasn't realizing until this federal trial had kind of wrapped up, that some of those cases that have been filed against him have been dropped or dismissed because they didn't have any merit to them. So he has I think there's still a lot of pending cases out there, but I don't know that there's still the same amount of lawsuits, because it looks like some have been dropped, which would kind of make sense because it was starting to get a little bit of like a circus around where everybody was saying something had happened to them. While I do think there may be some legitimacy to some, like there obviously was legitimacy to Cassie's case that was discussed right there during the federal trial, and there may be some legitimacy with some other situations here, but every single one of them didn't all have merit, and that makes sense. I mean, the more well-known one that got dropped was the one of the cases filed by Tony Busby, and his particular client had went on to like NBC or ABC and had did an interview that just pretty much made you question the entire story and if there was any validity to it. And then ultimately they dropped that case with prejudice, so that cannot be refiled again, although that client is saying that they are not recanting what they said happened. They're just choosing not to pursue the lawsuit, which is very interesting to me because if you're saying it happened, but you're dropping it with prejudice so you can't file it again, that makes me question if there is some truth to it. But that was the most well-known one that was dropped, but there's been some others, and now there's another one to add on to the list here. And I'm sure that's good news for Diddy, who's been facing probably huge legal fees with all of these different cases that he's trying to deal with so that he can probably not be broke or not be locked up and have some freedom to still kind of enjoy what's left of his time. But let's get into this article here from TMZ. It's titled Diddy Teflon Sean Lawsuit Win Keeps Piling Up. Sean Diddy Combs is on a heater, at least when it comes to tackling the mountain of lawsuits he's facing. And now former Making the Band singer Sarah Rivers is finding out firsthand what kind of role he is on. According to new legal docs obtained by TMZ, a judge just threw out the claim Sarah made against Diddy and other defendants in her lawsuit. They were dismissed with prejudice, meaning they cannot be filed again, although one is still up in the air. And Sarah was on one of the seasons, I can't remember what it is anymore. It was on so long ago, of Making the Band. She was a R&B singer. So she had come out after everybody else had been filing lawsuits and coming out talking about their experience with Diddy. And she said that he had tried to do stuff to her. And she had filed a lawsuit, I think, against him and some others as well. I don't know if his other businesses or other people as well that are associated with Diddy. And it looks like that lawsuit has not been successful. It's been dismissed with prejudice. So very interesting. And let's see what else it talks about. Among the claims dismissed, racketeering, assault and battery, forced labor, sexual harassment, and false imprisonment. As for one outstanding claim, the judge wrote quote, the determination of whether to dismiss with or without prejudice count 15, the Gender Motivated Violence Protection Act claim is hereby stayed pending, end quote, a ruling from an appellate court. So it looks like they're not going to make a judgment on that one just yet. Since we broke the story, Sarah sued Diddy back in February, claiming Diddy subjected her to hostile and inhumane treatment on the reality TV show Making the Band 2. Okay, so it's the second season then, Making the Band 2. Let me know if you remember the show Making the Band. If you remember that show, put Making the Band in the comments. I watched all of them. I was thoroughly entertained. That particular season I watched. And I remember when they walked to go get that cheesecake. I don't know nothing about Becky's. I don't know nothing about New York, but it appeared like it was a crazy walk. And the way everybody was describing it, it's a crazy walk. And I remember that happening in real time thinking, wow, the kind of power you have to make a whole group of people go do a walk that ordinarily they would never do. That's that's something. That's TV for you, and that made for good TV. It was probably terrible for the people who did it, but it did make for good TV, and we're still talking about it today. And that show was on what, 20 some odd, maybe even more years ago. So that goes to show you on that one. I'm gonna take a drink here. All right, let's get back into it. The suit filed by attorney Ariel Mitchell on behalf of Rivers cited the infamous cheesecake from Making the Band 2, where she and the rest of the band had to walk several blocks to get Diddy a sweet treat as one of the numerous incidents of abuse. Sarah also complained of being forced to sleep in an open bay with four other males, despite the fact she was married at the time, and she was threatened with being ousted if she didn't comply. She also alleged Diddy acted maliciously and recklessly with her career by publicly dismantling the group while pocketing most of her show money. She claimed Diddy actually harassed and assaulted her, claiming he once backed her into a corner and blocked her from moving while running his hand across her chest. Wow. The lawsuit also named defendants MTV, Viacom, UMG, and several ex-Bad Boy employees who had a profile on the series at the time, including Diddy's mother Janice and ex-assistant Farnsworth Bentley. In total, 21 claims were dismissed. Mitchell tells TMZ, quote, "We plan to appeal and look forward to more litigation specifically against Mr. Combs," end quote. Diddy, as you know, outfoxed federal prosecutors in his criminal trial this summer and was found not guilty on racketeering and ex-trafficking charges. And last month, he dealt a major blow to one of his sexual assault accusers. So let me know your thoughts on that in the comments. Let's keep the conversation going. Do you think she had merit in the case, or do you think it was something else that caused the dismissal? Do you think they may be successful with the appeal? Definitely want to hear your thoughts on it in the comments. The Aries crew has very interesting opinions, and I love seeing your thoughts on a topic. And now let's get into Jason Lee, who is being investigated by the City of Stockton. So he is the vice mayor out there in Stockton. That is where he is from. And he, I want to say earlier this year or towards the end of last year, had mentioned that he was running for the vice mayor of Stockton. He wanted to make a difference and he wanted to be a part of the change. And he is definitely out there. He got elected into there. I believe he wants to do good work. He's always talked about being from Stockton and wanting to give back to the community. So I do believe that there's a genuine interest in giving back to a city he grew up in and wanting to see it do better. And I think it is important to commend that and point it out because, you know, sometimes people may move away and you may no longer identify with where you came from or go back and try to do something to improve where you came from once your life situation changes. And kudos to him for going back to say, you know, I may be successful, I may have millions, I may be well known, well connected at this point, because Jason Lee knows everybody. He's been in the industry for a very long time, but you know, now he wants to take his time and be involved in public service, which I think is great. And I hope he can do great things out in Stockton. And it looks like when he was trying to do great things, you know, somehow maybe that got a little misconstrued. Don't know if it was related to anything that was improper or illegal, but he is under investigation for some allegations on how $50,000 was spent. So let's get into that information. Before we do that, let's take a pause for comments. Angel, welcome. Thank you so much for being here. Hope you are having a good Friday. And this is from CBS News. And this is cbsnews.com where I am getting this from. In this one, Stockton City manager investigates $50,000 payment tied to Wild and Out event. The Stockton City manager's office announced Tuesday that an investigation had been launched into a $50,000 payment made months ago. This was allegedly to prevent cancellation of a comedy show that Vice Mayor Jason Lee was involved with. The Wild and Out comedy show happened in May at the Adventist Health Arena in Stockton. Lee is friends with some of the performers and posted a video of him participating in the event on his Facebook page. The city manager says it recently came to light that $50,000 from the city's risk mitigation fund was used in connection with the event without his knowledge or approval. So we're probably going to see in here about how this came about, but from my understanding here, the Wild and Out event, was scheduled to be up in Stockton, and the ticket sales were low. And Stockton is not a large city. I think a larger city close to Stockton is Sacramento, but Stockton itself is not a large city. But wanting to have something there for the people who are there, they wanted to keep that Wild and Out event. And so there was money that was asked by the promotions team to come up with so that they don't have to cancel the event. Because, cancellations have a domino effect of everybody that it ends up hurting. And it looked like there had already been other cancellations that had occurred, so they really didn't want to have to do another one. And so from there, don't know that Jason Lee necessarily gave them $50,000, but it's I want to say he connected them with City of Stockton employees, and from there, that's where it gets questionable about how stuff went. And let's see if this dives into that a little bit more. Lee is also calling for an independent outside investigation into all of this, calling it a politically motivated retaliation. He believes this is all in response to his own investigation into budget and hiring concerns by the city manager's office. He discussed this during Monday's audit committee meeting. Quote, this whole week has been a political witch hunt to prove somehow that the vice mayor conspired with city staff to go into bank accounts to give $50,000 to a brand that lost $175,000 on top of the $50,000 in an approved list that they've used in the past, end quote. Lee said in the meeting, quote, it was also an opportunity to silence the voice of staff who are bringing forward serious concerns with respect to internal controls that are out of control, end quote. Mayor Christina Fugazi also commented on his investigation into the city manager's office. Quote, an outside investigator will be looking into money that was authorized to be spent that maybe shouldn't have, or I'm not quite sure. I can only say because it didn't go through the city manager, and all of that kind of stuff should be going through the city manager, Mayor Fugazi said. Anything that has to do with disbursement of funds, the city manager should know about. No arguments there. I think that's fair. The question is whether or not it was done that way. Lee also says the audit committee reviewed the city's partnership with ASM Global, the event promoter of Wild 'N Out created by Nick Cannon. Lee says the committee's recommendation for an outside investigation will go before the city council immediately. The interim city manager says his investigation will look into whether any city policies or procedures were bypassed and if any lines were crossed. So we'll keep you posted here on what's going on with that. One day I want to catch an actual Stockton City Council meeting where I can see Jason Lee in person, but until then, we'll definitely be tracking this particular story, so you can get your updates here on Aries Rose TV. If you like talking a little bit about everything, then this is the perfect channel for you. Hit that subscription button. It's free to join the Aries crew, and we'd love to have you over here. We have fun over here. Then you can find out every time I go live, post videos, and post on the communities tab by hitting that notification bell and selecting all. Thank you so much for watching. I absolutely love doing YouTube, and it's because I have such a great community here. So I definitely appreciate you supporting and being on the live. Share this live out with family and friends. It helps the channel to grow and get some more eyes on us here. As you come into the video, if you can like it, it goes a long way. Helps out with the YouTube algorithm. Greatly appreciated. We're trying to get to 2K here by the end of fall. We do go live every weekday, so we'll be back on track next week. But we are going to go live this weekend, and stay tuned for the review I'm going to do on the TMZ Presents the Real Hulk Hogan documentary. Definitely looking forward to talking about that because I do like wrestling. So it was very, very interesting to see that, who they had on there, who they talked to, and it's definitely interesting to hear from Vince McMahon. So let me know what you think about this investigation on Jason Lee. Do you think he was doing everything on the up and up, or was something done that may not have been the way it should have been handled? Let's keep that conversation going. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you later.